tell us who you are, tell us your story, tell us where you're from, and let us know who you are.
Well, when you first asked me about that and said I've got 8 minutes, I thought, remember?
I did not put a time limit on you. I said, usually it goes for like 8 minutes. That's around. This is what she does to me all week long. I don't even go in that office anymore. I hang out anywhere else in the church because she gets me. So go ahead, Sue. Tell them everything.
Someday I may adopt him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, let me see. I was born, I'm not going to tell you when, because someone once asked me, was that after the war? And I thought, I sure hope you're not talking about World War I. But I was born and raised in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and there really is a Sheboygan, believe it or not. And while I was there, through my upbringing, I was brought up in a Lutheran school. That's where I learned you better be good or God's going to zap you with a bolt of lightning. Meanwhile, my mom died when I was 12, which left it up to my dad to raise us the best he could. But he was a man's man, a hunter, a fisherman, and also a drinker. So through that whole process, I learned to become very independent, very controlling, very proving that I was okay. And I say that because that was also brought into my marriage, my attitude, and my passion to control things, because in my mind, if I was in control, I was being loved. Well, as the story goes, I moved from Sheboygan to Milwaukee. Once I got to Milwaukee, I met my husband, and that was a kick in itself. So I fell madly in love, even though he was divorced. He was 11 years older than I was, which is a generation to some. And he had 3 sons. And I thought, hey, I can handle that. I babysat. These boys were 8, 10, and 12. And let me talk about having God open your eyes concerning boys. So we made it through the early part when they only came on weekends. But as they got older, and Jim and I had 2 children of our own, they started to realize that they could play their games. They could come over, and they were very welcome, but I set rules, being the controller I am, and we decided we were going to be consistent. They loved coming over as long as it was fun, and they didn't have to do any work or anything else or be told to stop doing whatever it was they were doing. Because when you did that, then it was time, as far as they were concerned, to go home to their other family. As they got older, once in a while, they'd decide, okay, we've had it, we want to move in. Well, then they'd move in for a couple of weeks, and again, the rules showed up again. And my whole philosophy was I was the controller. I was not going to let them hurt their father by disappointing him. And this became a really big issue because the vocabulary at our house changed a bunch. It was, I don't have to do that. You're not my mom, even though I wasn't even attempting or wanted to be their mom, in a sense. But as time went on and they got older, the good part about that whole thing is my son and daughter had older brothers. And once they joined the military and got a taste of the world and found out that the world did not revolve around them, and that cleaning the bathroom took on a whole new world when it came to cleaning it with a toothbrush. So therefore, my term, or my nickname, was Sergeant Sue, which you just remember.
That's so good to know. Oh, my goodness. How are we just finding this out? Kevin, where are you, man? This is great. My goodness. All right, Sue, I love you to death, but you definitely want to control stuff. Like, she tries to tell me what to do. I'm an only child, okay? I do what I want. So for the first couple of months, me and Sue in the office, Kevin would be like, you go over here, and she's going to go over there. But we get along great, but like there is something in it. Like we want to be in control. She wants to be in control. I want to be in control. You've kind of told us about your family, and you've mentioned some. Are there any other difficulties that you would speak to about a blended family? And we'll talk about the blessings too, because I like how you said it's not just difficulties. There are blessings. But what are any more difficulties you would mention that you remember?
I think the short film that was up there was very true, and it hit upon everything there. It really is hard on your marriage because of the fact that the other parent, the step-parent, is not loving those kids like their own children. Right. I mean, we might as well face it. We can say it. Oh, I love all 5 of my children. But when the moms will understand, when you have your own children, before you have your children, all babies are cute.
Yeah.
Once you have your own children, only yours are cute.
Yeah.
And then they get older, and then babies become cute again.
Okay.
But it is hard on a marriage because even though you try to be consistent with your rulemaking and such, it does cause friction. And you have to really have God in your life in order to make that work. You can't just do it on your own. Marriage is not 50-50. Marriage is 100 and 100 with God watching over it all. And you have to turn to Him to help you through these hard times.
So you mentioned some blessings. What are some of these blessings that you get to enjoy because of the blended family that you raised?
23 grandchildren are part of that, and 16 great-grandchildren. So I guess...
Doesn't she look good for her age, whatever it is? You're getting an idea. She told Kevin and I how old she was a while back. That's when we knew she loved us and trusted us. And we both said, wow. We thought she was like a decade and a half younger. She looks really, you look really good.
You just keep believing that.
I'm working on our relationship in the office and trying to make things good for tomorrow. All right.
You'll be able to buy more things if you keep that in mind.
I have to go through her for everything. Everything now. It's hard being an only child and getting your way and then not. So, we're talking about blended families, but we're also talking about mended families today. Specifically dealing when our lives don't turn out the way that we thought they would. How have you dealt with specifically the loss of your husband over these last few years?
Well, with the loss of my husband, and I also lost one of my children, God has taught me through this whole period of time to trust Him. And boy, you really have to hang on to His hand. Over the years, I now get Mother's Day cards from those 3 boys, and I love them to death. And I also, from my daughter, do get one when she remembers.
I hope she's not watching.
I hope not, too, because that would be a whole new story. But I really don't think we would have made it without God in our family, without belonging to a church, without belonging to a community group where God has given me friends since I've been here. I came from Alaska with a motorhome of my belongings and my husband. And you don't get much in a motorhome. But I can tell you that once I turned it over to God and trusted Him, that even though my husband passed and went before me, He has blessed me beyond belief. Not only has He brought me to Restore Church, He has blessed me with friends here. He has blessed me financially, where I almost feel like a high school kid again. I moved out from my daughters and have my own apartment again, where I am in control.
Oh.
So without God, that would not have been there.
I just want to say this. I've watched too over the last couple of years, and most of the time, not most of the time, but we all know somebody who when they lose their spouse, they have a decision to make. They either hide away, begin avoiding people, avoiding things. What I've noticed about Sue since I've known her, Sue has a very good regimen. She's going to get up and she's going to go to the Y and she's going to see some friends. She's going to go swimming. She's not going to come in here until she's done with her swim. So we don't know when she's coming in. It's whenever that swim's done, all right? She tells us all the time. She's got her schedule. And here's what I've noticed. She's going to lead a group. She's going to attend a group. She's going to meet as many new people as she can. And a couple of years ago, she had a choice to sit by herself and maybe to feel sorry for herself. But Sue has realized, like, there is hope here. If there is hope in heaven, and there is, she will be reunited with her husband, then there is also hope here. In relationships, in serving. She always finds ways to keep herself busy. When we got her up to speed over here, she's like, well, is that all y'all have? There's other things I can do. She's trying to teach my wife how to sew. She wants to do as much as she can to serve people, serve the church, serve others. And I think there's something there for those of us who have found ourselves in a position where life isn't turning out the way we thought, and we want to kind of sulk away, pull back, and just be around ourselves, feel sorry. Sue, to me, is one of the most joyful and hopeful people I've ever met. And the more I've gotten to know her, especially considering her circumstance. Sue, tell us how long you were married before your husband passed.
My husband and I were married 47 years. I kept telling him, we got to make it to 50. I want to be able to get that gold, I think 50 is, isn't it? But we didn't quite make it that far. But I'll tell you one thing. The blessings that God has given me through teaching me how to trust him and rely on him are beyond any golden anniversary I could have had. And I'm going to continue hanging on to him because I know the word retirement is not in Scripture, which I'm finding out from him very quickly every day. But if we continue to hang in there and keep him involved with our families, whether you've got children or are in the process of making children or have those teenagers at home that are driving you nuts, keep God there and he will bless you beyond belief. I'm so looking forward to my next adventure with him.
That's good.
And these two in the office.
Sue, what's your advice to somebody who's in here this morning and their family plan is not working out the way they thought it would? Because I know this is not how you thought 2 or 3 years into living in the continental United States would be. You imagined it would be very different right now. But what would be your advice to them, your encouragement in closing?
Well, when I first became involved in a church and was thinking about serving and stuff, my main prayer was, please don't send me to Africa. They've got big snakes and beetles over there that they put on leashes and stuff. So he did answer that prayer. He brought me to Virginia. So now I know what humidity is, besides humbleness. So my advice is never let go of the Lord. Take it one day at a time. That's all he's promised us. And if you take it one day at a time, start your day with him in the morning. And he'll pull you through whatever any young boy in your family or a daughter could put you through for that day. But hang on tight because he's going to take you for a ride. And remember to listen to those little tickles he gives you so that he doesn't have to haul out that 2x4 and get you later.